What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Rob Stapleton with another episode of that Rob Stapleton Effect. We in the building with my man, my co-host extraordinaire, my man, Mr. Marshall Brandon. What it is,
that's me, yo. That's me. What's happening, bro?
What it is, man?
Good, man. How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling like a legend today, man.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like a street legend today, man.
You definitely should.
I feel like I'm getting ready to go between the legs, man.
Right.
I'm ready to walk bow-legged on the court on 155th.
Okay,
right
ready to make somebody sit down.
You know when you get to the court, when you get to the court and you got that first pick, there's certain first picks that you make.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you call that the squad.
Yeah. You
know
who you gonna get first on your way there. You already know.
Exactly. You ain't changing your mind. I don't care if one of the other tall dudes coming. I'm going with this pick right here. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome our special guest joining us tonight. When I say the legend, people throw legends that name around real easy.
Right.
We got the legendary New York legend, NBA star, my man, Mr. Rod Strickland in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on?
What's good, Rod? Talk to us, man. What's good?
Man, all good, man. Happy to be on with my guy, you know.
Hey, man. Oh, man, this
we have a lot of history.
Yo, we got a lot of history, man.
Yeah.
Man, first of all, man, thank you for taking time to come through, man. It's like I was saying when I said earlier, man, people throw that name, right? Marshall, they say legend.
Right.
But when you say legend, you could be the legend of like Newport, Rhode Island, or a small town in Arizona. But when you a legendary point guard out of New York City, man, I don't think you ever have to pay for your own Popeyes wherever you go to Popeyes, man.
Right. Oh no, I'm gonna have to try to use that. That hasn't worked yet. I'm gonna have to try to use that. But nah, man, I appreciate being on with you, man. Like I said, we have history, man, and all I can say, my guy Rob, man, I've known you from the beginning, and you stayed true and the same all the time.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that, man, because you walk in this world, you meet people, and things change. You've always been the same, man, and I appreciate that.
Nah, I appreciate that too, as well as you, man. I'm gonna give a big shout out before we jump into this, man, to Blue Royal, man, our sponsor right here. We're gonna make sure you get a shipment of this. This is that blend, Rod, of that tequila and that rum with the natural. And I'm telling you right here, if you run out of gas, you ain't got to stop at the gas station. You pour a little bit of that in there, you good. You good money right there. So, Rod, let's take this, man. So you from the Boogie Down Bronx, man. You know what I mean? The whole Mitchell thing coming up. Tell us about, man, I know your brothers. I know Byron, I know Steve, know the crew. Yeah. So tell us about, man, when did you first touch that ball in the Bronx?
Well, you just named them. My two brothers, Byron and Steve. Like those were my idols. I wanted to grow up and be like them. I wanted to stand on the corner.
What type of pressure is that, man? Because like you got the Marbury brothers, right? Like, later on, we're down in Brooklyn. You got to realize, Steph was doing it, and his brothers was like, he had the older brothers that were putting it on him. Did you get that from Byron a lot, from the older brother? Did you get that?
No, it was never any pressure, right? Because Byron was, obviously who he was, one of the top players, And
he had that above the rim game too. Byron jumped.
Well, he was a shooter, man. He put that thing in the basket, man. He was a scorer, and he was tough, But no, it was never any pressure. I wanted to grow up and be like them, so I idolized them. I watched them, and it's always the younger one. I mean, if you just go down the line, you just watch players, and a lot of them are the younger brother.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you just get, I wanted to be like him. He beat me all the time. You know what I mean? So
he wasn't giving you no wins. You had to earn it, huh?
Yeah. So you got that chip on your shoulder. You're trying to beat him. You're looking up to him. You're watching him. You're trying to figure out how to be like him and then be better than him. So it was never any pressure. Never. I mean, I admired him.
At what age do you feel like you was a little different than like that you were a little better than people your age? You know what I'm saying?
I think was like one of the better players. From, my recollection. I think when I went to high school is when I really, like things start really coming together. I mean, I was always good.
Right.
But, I went to Rice High School my freshman year, played well, and then I transferred to Truman. And I think that's when, the following people started to notice, and I started to notice myself.
Right.
You know, I went to Truman my sophomore year, and I sat behind someone. And then my junior year, I started, and that was like my come out year. And then
Yeah.
I went to Las Vegas one summer, but before my senior year, and we went out there. We won the whole tournament. I got MVP. So
Yeah.
I kind of, you know, I gradually
You see how he
got better.
downplaying this? He
Right, like,
talking
yeah.
about when he went to Truman, they won his junior year. They
Right.
won it.
Right, they won the whole
They won the
shit.
chip. You know.
Right. I speak to that. You know, we
Right.
won state and city and state.
Mhm.
And then I went to
Oh,
Las Vegas,
right.
and that's when the nation kind of found out about me. But it was good back then because I could gradually get better. It wasn't a whole lot of pressure.
Right.
So I
Right.
didn't know who I was.
Right.
You know, I thought of the NBA, but I never thought like, yeah, I'm going to the NBA. So I
Right.
gradually got better.
So let's talk about the Gaucho. So you did the Gaucho. Me and Marshy was talking earlier. Marshy from Connecticut, but he's been here in New York so long. He's a New Yorker now. And he's not too familiar with the Gauchos. And I was telling him how the shorties would come up through the Gaucho gyms and really, really be schooled. It was like for ninjas. You know what I mean?
No, the Gauchos was it. But I started out as a Mitchell Bullet because I grew up in the Mitchell Projects.
Right.
And I played for Dave McCollins with the Mitchell Bullets. And then from there, Lou Dalmeda asked Dave McCollins to come coach his older group.
Right.
And Dave said, the only way I'm coming is if I can bring my younger guys. So we really were like that first young group of the Gauchos.
Yeah.
And, you know, I played for a coach, man, Dave McCollins. I always tell him now that I don't think we appreciated him enough. You know, I think we took him for granted. But he was the foundation. He taught me how to play with the right hand, left hand. He taught me how to care about my teammates.
See, that's
You
the
know,
foundation of
Right.
him taking it to the hole the way that he do.
Right now,
yeah. He taught us, you know, the big guy get a rebound and he runs the court, you better give him the ball. You know, guys are open, you better pass them the ball. There was no selfishness. So he gave me the foundation to be able to play with anybody at any time in any situation.
Hey, did you subscribe?
did you subscribe?
Hey,
Click right
Marshall,
here.
I think they think we playing. Subscribe.
Man.
Hit the button. Hit the button.
Right
Oh,
here.
you think I'm messing?
Oh, y'all think? Do you think this? Do you think that he had the as a coach that he had the biggest impact on your basketball career?
Absolutely. Because again, it was the foundation. I played 17 years because I knew how to play basketball. You know, not because I can jump out the gym or I was the fastest, you know, but I knew how to play and I was skilled. And a lot of that skill came from, you know, 6:30 in the morning before I go to elementary school.
Right.
I'm in Mitchell Gym and he's teaching us 3-on-2, 2-on-1, you know, zones and, you know, how to cut
Is
it
that
out
when
the
it first
ball.
came to you, Rod, when you realized being a true point guard, like there was more important stuff than just scoring, setting everybody up, or did that come a little later?
That comes from Magic Johnson. So I was the biggest Magic Johnson fan. And so I wanted to be just like Magic. I wanted to throw no-look passes. I went to the Army and Navy store, got the uniform, put Magic on the back, number 32, and I walked around the neighborhood with a whole uniform of Magic Johnson. So I wanted to be that, you know? I wanted to be that slick passer, you know, that unselfish guy. It was Dr. J and Magic Johnson and George Gervin. Like those were like when you think about layups and the reverses and the finger rolls and the no-look passes, you know, then I was an Isaiah Thomas fan, Pearl Washington fan with the ball handling, you know, Clyde Frazier, Earl Monroe.
Ooh, you talking straight Hall of Famers right there. Yeah.
So
So you took a little bit from this and a little bit from that, and a little bit from
I
that.
had all these ideas in my mind, and I wanted to be like them. Like I wanted to have some flair, you know. I wanted to, you know, you come from New York, everything is about me and you.
Yeah. Yo,
I'm
Rod.
gonna shake you.
Yo, Marshall, you got to realize when Rod was coming up, man, it was like consecutive years of the point guard. You had Pooh Richards here coming up. You had Reeves coming up. You had Mark ahead of him. You know what I mean? It was so you had this whole balance of Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx with perennial all-stars, like just coming up. It was a big
Harvey.
Boo Harvey, crazy. It was like it was like New York was the land of the God. You know what I mean? It was crazy at that time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So look, so now you go to Rice, right? So you at Rice that first year. You said you sat behind somebody that first year?
No, so back then, when you was a freshman in Catholic school, you had to play freshman basketball.
Yeah, that's true.
When you was a 10th grader, you had to play JV. So I was on the freshman team, and then the second year I was on the JV team. But I was doing so well, I was like, I don't want to do this. I said, I want to play varsity.
Yeah.
So I basically told Rice, I want to play varsity. If you guys ain't letting me play varsity, I'm leaving.
Right. I remember because I was at Spelman at that time. When you was over at Rice, I was over at Spelman, right.
So they let me go up one day to practice, and I killed them. And so then I thought...
Bodied him.
It was, true story.
That's true story.
So I'm thinking now I'm going to be on varsity. So I want to say the next day or two, they informed me that they're not going to just do that just because that's my desire. And, basically they're not going to let me be in control.
So, Rod, let me ask you, so when you saying that you put it on them and you bodied them, do the players that in varsity know that, he really should be fucking with us? Like, he really should be. Like, they know it, right?
You have to know.
It's hard not to.
You have to know. It's, anybody who was, there that day will tell you that, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, it was obvious.
Yeah, steel sharpens steel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've nothing against anyone, but it just is what it is.
It was cooking.
And then, so they informed me that they wasn't going to move me up. So
right. So that's when you had to make the move.
Yeah, so I started trying to figure out what was the next place. And, my guy, Todd Joy, was one of my closest friends. He was at Truman. And I never forget, I went to watch them play against Taft in Taft. And I ain't going to lie to you. I loved the way they came on the court. They had this little way of coming in. And it just was cold to me, the way they ran in with the ball. And, they had the cheerleaders going crazy. They was dancing. And I was like, I want to go there.
You was like, trade me.
I was like, I'm going to Truman.
Yo, you got to realize, back in the day, Truman was one of the only schools in the Bronx that have an aquarium and a pool and stuff like that. It was like a small college. It was up in Co-op City, up in the Bronx. So it was like...
And I knew nothing about that.
You ain't know nothing about that.
I couldn't care less about that.
Yeah,
right?
You just wanted that basketball court.
Yeah. So I went up to Truman. I never forget Lap. He tells me to this day, he looked at me like, he told my guy, Ty, like, is this the guy, this little skinny dude here? And I never forget when I got there, because I transferred, I had to sit out. And I never forget sitting behind the bench, and everybody's trying to figure out who I am. They probably heard whatever, and I just never forget, like, that crowd was going crazy. And I was like, damn, I can't wait.
Wait on that court. They don't even know what's about to come.
They don't even know what's about to come. I don't even know if I knew what was about to come. But this is the crazy thing, right? The first game I come off the bench, the first play of the game, if I can recall, it was like my patented move that I used in high school. I would, get by somebody, and I would go up to the basket and show the ball, and then I would dish it off. And that was like the first play, and the crowd goes crazy. You know what I mean?
And you like, yo, and that's not even my bread and butter. That's just
yeah.
And
then the next thing I hit them with and lay it up, and so the crowd is going crazy. And with each game, they got to know what I was on the court. And I tell people to this day, and I'm not just saying this, my best pure basketball experience by far.
Yo, Rob, when you was I remember that when you was at Truman, man, it was like, it was in the paper all the time. It was like, wasn't no internet. It wasn't like no Google. It was like you just bought a Daily News or a Post and it was like almost a whole page just on like on you and what was going on with the movement uptown. So your first year, who was the big? What was the big competition? What was it Walton? Who was?
Oh man, it was Stevenson.
Stevenson.
It was Columbus. What's the school?
Was Pickney? Was Pickney over there? Then
no, he was before me.
He was before you, right? Okay.
But it had Dedrick, Kyrie's pops.
Yeah.
You know, and all those guys. Slick, Brent Williams, Kaim Long.
Yeah.
But then it was what's the school that had Drafton Davis? Oh man, I can't think of the school, but the Bronx, it was a lot, man. Columbus.
Yeah, I mean they were coming at you, man. They were coming fast and furious.
I'm sorry, Evander.
Oh yes, Evander, and that was like right down the block too.
Yeah, you had to get a police escort to get out of there.
It was like that.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. So look, your junior year, you go ahead and say, "Fuck, let's stop playing with them." Junior year, they just say, "Let's just win the whole chip." So walk us through that, man. Through that year, that special year. Everything came together.
Everything just came together, man. I loved our offense. We had this unique offense that whenever we got up, we could stall the ball. Like it was over with. Like, I mean, it was like clockwork. But I had Ty Joy, who was the point guard, and he actually was the leader of the team.
Right.
We had Rob Brantley.
Rob Brantley, man. That was my first introduction to you, was Rob Brantley.
Man,
Rob, the man. People don't know how good Rob was, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Rob was 6'7", 6'8", Rob would have been a pro.
Yeah.
Like, he was 6'2" as a big man.
That's a big man, yeah.
And he punked everybody.
Yeah,
that
was my man.
That's a little big man too. That's
yeah.
Small for a big man.
I mean, he was just tough, man, and we clicked. We had a great leader in Ty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I did what I did. Ty did what he did. Rob was, so we were a consistent trio.
The chemistry was cooking.
The chemistry was cooking, man, and then it just got better and better, man.
Was it automatic? Was it right off the rip? Y'all just clicked like that?
Yes.
Mm.
Because, we had the previous year together.
Right.
I came off the bench. But then now I'm starting, full-fledged starting. So I got that year of experience. And then, Ty and I played together since we were like 10 years old.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, I mean, it was clockwork for Ty and I.
Yeah.
Like, he knew me. He knew my personality. He knew when I was on that BS.
Yeah.
He knew how to deal with me. He knew how to put me
He knew how to shake you out of the funk and be like, yo,
Rob,
let that shit go. Let that shit go. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, he knew I was never going to go too far with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it was good.
All right, so look, you win the chip that year, and then the next year you make your way to Oak, right? So you make your way to the legendary Oak, Oak Hill. Yeah. Oak Hill down in Virginia, which, that's where Carmelo went, Rondo, and, a couple of, dope players from the NBA. So how was your experience in that 1 year down at Oak, man?
It was great, man. Like, so Oak Hill Academy came about, Steve Lapis, because I left.
Mm-hmm.
So just to give you the story, the coach who wouldn't let me play at Rice became the head coach of Truman when Lapis.
Oh, damn.
Shit. I didn't even remember that.
If you know anything about me, I hold grudges. So now I'm coming to Truman, and I'm like, I'm not playing for him.
Yeah.
So
I never knew that was one of the sparks, man. I don't think if I did, I forgot that. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Lap went and found Oak Hill for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I never forget, I'm from New York. Bronx, New York, I'm going to Mount Wilson, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
It's cows and,
I think you was down there before they even had Waffle House, man.
Man, listen, it definitely wasn't no Waffle House.
There wasn't no Waffle House. So you a city dude, now you in there with the cows and all that other shit.
Yeah, but, that basketball court was the neutralizer. So, my first day there, right off the plane, straight on the court. So, back then, all people know of you is, what they read in Street and Smith or blue ribbon.
Yeah.
But no one knows anybody. They just heard about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, word of mouth.
Yeah.
So I walked straight in the gym and right away took over the gym. Right away. Coming from New York. So back then it was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Back then it was different. When you came from New York, it was almost like a ghost walking in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it just was like that.
Yeah.
And so for us in New York, we had to battle so much on the streets.
Rod, did you feel the pressure on you when you walked on the court being from New York or no?
Never.
You didn't feel the pressure?
Never. So when I walked in Oak Hill, I was anxious, right? Because I always have nerves. Like I was anxious, but I wanted to, I'm ready because in New York, you on the street ball, you playing against dudes that you may think you better than, you may be better than, but they're coming after you. Yeah. Physically, you might have a fight, like you just don't know. So like I knew how to walk on the court and be in control.
Right.
Right. Without being like cocky and all of that.
Right.
I knew how to walk on the court and like, this is my basketball, but I'm going to make sure everybody's good while doing my thing. So I was always able to kind of maneuver that. So,
Right. So in between this time, Rod, so between Truman and between you going to Oak, now you a top 10 high school player throughout the country. You top 10 in the country. Let me repeat this shit one more time.
Yeah.
There's a few million people playing basketball. There's a couple of thousand that are nice. So you're in the top 10 high schooler in the motherfucking country, right? College offices are coming from all over the place. I know you opening up your mail and all of this stuff is coming. And what makes you pick DePaul? How did they get blessed with Rod Strickland?
Well, first of all, being top 10 came so sudden. Like, I'll never forget, and Todd doesn't remember this. We were in front of Mitchell Gym, and he's the one who told me I was top 10 in the country. And I was like, wow. Like, it was a good thing though.
Did the NBA thing kind of like click around that time? Did you you didn't think about the NBA at all around that time?
I mean, you think about it,
right?
But I wasn't like like now. These kids now, they're in 5th grade and they know they're going to the NBA.
Yeah, but his man told him that he top 10. You know what that comes with? 10 more badder light-skinned chicks.
Oh, wow.
So look, man. So you so you make the go ahead. Yeah, you tell the story. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So DePaul, really, honestly, DePaul didn't have to recruit me.
What?
I mean, they did.
Yeah.
But I was attached to DePaul. Like,
was it a walkthrough? Was it a walk-on? I mean, like, is this something a visit that you did, or it just?
I took the visit.
Right.
But beforehand, I had known about DePaul. They played on TV all the time.
Yeah.
They were on WGN. So
was that Joey Meyer? Joey Meyer was there?
Joey Meyer.
Right.
So every game was on national TV because WGN was national televised.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And they were a top 5, top 10 program.
Right.
And I was a Kenny Patterson fan.
Oh,
from Queens.
Yes.
So everything just aligned themselves, and I mean, really, there was Villanova, and that was because Lapp was there.
Right.
It was St. John's, it was Syracuse, and then it was Georgia and UNLV.
Right.
I didn't take any of those visits.
Right. So
I went to DePaul and I signed.
Hey, put your chicken down.
Click right here.
Hey.
Right here.
I know you hear me. Don't hide. I can see you.
Click right here.
Click. It's not hard.
And then hit the bell. It's a bell.
Don't make me come.
You will be notified.
Okay, so you were happy there, and then you brought your energy. He brings his energy and his juice there, and for the 3 years, each year, your what, 2 Sweet 16?
3.
3 each year, right? Each
year.
Yeah,
I was there for 3 years.
Yeah, you was there for 3 years, and each year NCAA tournament. Each year.
Couldn't get over that hump.
Yeah. Explain the pressure that when you get down, you start with the 64, just making it to the 64's fucking feet that everybody can't talk about. How's that pressure? Because now you got this whole Cinderella thing that can happen. Every possession of the ball and you being the guard. What goes through your head in that shit?
Man, I don't. You get nerves sometimes, but I don't think I ever felt pressure. Like the first year we won the tournament, we were ranked. We were a 12 seed.
Okay.
So there were really no expectations.
Right.
So we kind of upset two teams to get to the Sweet 16. Then we got to the Sweet 16 and we played the number 1 seed Duke.
Oh, yeah.
Who was just better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they beat us. Now the next 2 years, we were higher seeds and we lost. So my sophomore year, we played against LSU. We were the higher seed, and this guy, I don't even like saying his name all the time.
Okay.
It was a kid named Darryl Joe. He was from LSU, and he just punked me, like he bullied me. Like they have the game on
YouTube. On YouTube. Mm-hmm.
I don't even watch it. Like I don't even watch it. Like I won't even watch it. Like I've had people try to be funny and like go watch it. And I'm like, I'm not watching it.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you later, because I was watching an interview where Mo Cheek said that like all the players in the league used to dread having to match up against you and play against you. And and one of my questions was going to be, was there somebody that you used to dread matching up against or something like that? But maybe that was the answer. This dude here.
Well, he was a one-time.
It was a one game.
I would have loved to get him again.
What was he on? Some Patrick Beverly type of shit? Like just over-aggressive, overzealous on each possession?
That's a perfect example.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling from how you describing it.
He was tripping me. Like, he really bullied me, and I wasn't ready for the physicality.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So after that year, I started, like, lifting weights. So my first 2 years in college, I ran from the weight room.
Yeah.
And so, that experience made me realize I had to get stronger.
Yeah, to get that upper body together and stuff, right?
Yeah. So that next year, I mean, I was lifting and I was ready.
So it was a blessing. It was a blessing in disguise then.
Yes, I never wanted to feel that again. I didn't want no more of that experience like that. Like I had to live through the summer.
Yeah.
And I remember there was an older guy from my neighborhood. He was at the game.
Right.
I'll never forget this. I'm walking off the court, and I was mad at him for a while over this. I was walking off the court, and as I'm coming through like the little tunnel area to go to the locker room, he's standing there like and he shook his head and gave me this look. I remember that to this day.
To this day, yeah.
And then I go home. So once I get home, everybody's in front of the gym. That's just how we.
That's how we go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where everybody hung out, and they messed with me for a night, man. Like they were just.
Yeah, they let you hear it, man. They kept it real with you. They gave you their real thoughts.
Man. Yeah, so I never forgot. So, that, like I said, that next year it was a different story.
And you never got to play him again?
Never got to play. I wanted him to make the league. Please make the league. Please. I swear, I'm not lying. I wanted him because I felt like now he got me and I could never get him back. Yeah. So he can always
tell that story.
Yeah, he can always tell that story.
That was probably the biggest story he got. The biggest story he got. Like that's his claim to fame. Right?
Yeah, that's his cookout story. That's his story at the cookout. He tell all the time.
So if I saw him today and he came up to me and he like, I had to eat it.
So like you said, Ron, he never made the league, you know what I mean? So you to get your revenge, but you did. So let's talk about that. 1988, man. How's that feeling, man? It's the draft, I believe, at the Felt Forum back then, right? It's draft day, man. It's the Felt Forum. It's the draft day. NBA motherfucking draft, man. Little dude from the Bronx came up through the Gauchos, came up through Mitchell, doing this thing through high schools. You in the paper. You know what I mean? Now, it got to be surreal. Draft night. How are you feeling, man, draft night? Tell us about, you got your suit on, you got the fresh haircut. How you feel get ready to get picked?
Fresh cut. I'll tell you now, I had the bozo suit on. I didn't think that at the time, But I was excited.
Right.
But the interesting part was my college coach called me that day in the hotel room and told me that I may be dropping in the draft.
Mm.
He said the Lakers and Boston called him, so they always had the last two picks in the first round.
Yeah, yeah.
So now I'm a little nervous because I'm like, man, So I was projected to go between 7 and 15. So I get to the draft. Seattle told my agent, or my agent told me, that if I'm there at 15, they're going to take me. So 15 pick comes and they take someone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now I'm sitting there, my brother's in the stands. They want to beat the agent up. So now I'm looking at the board on top of me, and I see the teams on top, and all of them have point guards.
Yeah.
Except for the Lakers and Boston. So I'm sitting there like, shit. If the Lakers or Boston don't take me, I could drop the second round. So the 19th pick comes, and one of the reporters goes, "This is you." Yeah. So now I already know about Mark Jackson.
Right,
I'm from
right.
New York.
Yeah.
I watched him play, his rookie year, so I saw what he did.
Right.
I'm like, this don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So as the Knicks are making their pick, the crowd is going crazy. And I don't know if you can recall this, but Shelton Jones was there.
Yeah.
And the New York wanted them to pick Shelton Jones.
The whole St. John's thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so Mark and Shelton is in the stand.
Yeah, I remember this, man. And this was huge for New York. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
And they holding hands.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the pick. They sitting together. Yeah. And how New York go, they revving up, the crowd going crazy with the 19th pick. the
New York Knicks select.
DePaul University, Rod Strickland.
Yeah.
Boom! Boom! You know how they wave their hands and
Damn.
And so now I'm in the twilight zone because I'm from New York.
Yeah. So it's a shock to your whole.
I did work in New York in the streets and all that. Like, I'm a hooper, and I'm getting booed in my home.
Right, and you never think about that, like going to the draft and getting picked by, like you think about I'm about to get drafted to go to the NBA. Not for 1 second is any player thinking, yo, they gonna boo me when I get selected.
Especially with your home team. You know what I mean?
And I'm in New York.
Yeah.
Booed,
that's like me getting booed at Caroline's. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm performing all over, but I'm like, Caroline's, you're booing me in my home. You know what I mean? I think it was more so a shock to the system. You know what I mean? And them feeling like, why are we drafting another guard right now when Mark just won Rookie of the Year?
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's overkill right now. What are we doing? You know what I mean?
That's probably what they were thinking, though. You're right.
You know what I mean? And those are the real, the people that really go to the draft, they are like real Comic-Con type of people. They got everything figured out, and they like statistics. So anyway, man, I'm happy. I'm happy as hell. It's my podcast. I'm gonna keep it real. I was happy as fuck. Yeah. We got Big Pat there. I think Pat was I think Ewan was in his third year from Georgetown there. You know what I mean? Mark came in and did his thing. I think we had Gerald Wilkins, Trent Tucker.
Johnny Newman.
Newman,
Tucker.
And then so you come in that first year. And keep it real, man. How did you feel? Because right now, Rick Pitino's the head coach, right? So Rick Pitino's the head coach. He has a situation where he has these guards. I think Kenny Walker was just drafted the year before. You know what I mean? 2 years before that. How did you feel? I mean, you and Mark are New York guys and shit, but what's really going through your head at that time, Rod?
Well, honestly, I'm like, we're gonna figure it out. Like, we're gonna compete. Mm-hmm. But understand, respectfully, right? Because I saw what Mark did.
Yeah.
So I know what Mark is.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not sitting up here like, I'm going to take his spot.
Right.
I know I got an uphill battle, but I'm going to compete.
Right.
And so that's what it was. And it's so funny because me and Mark are like this. Like
Right.
Mark is my guy.
Yeah.
But we had some awkward moments.
Yeah, that's the key word I would say was awkward.
No, we had some because the respect factor was always there.
Right.
Like even when I look back at it, we always respected each other, and we really we laughed and joked, like we had great times together.
Right.
But there still was that elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Like I want to start, he's the starter, and Mark could tell this story. He messes with me all the time about this.
Right.
I tried to fight him I tried to make him fight one day in practice.
One day in practice, yeah.
One day in practice, I just came in with a bad attitude.
You just came in to push him. Just came in to push him that day.
Man, he kept going off the ball screen, and I kept just pushing him off out of bounds. Like every time. See, Mark is a smart dude, though, right?
Very smart.
Mark is a smart dude. Like he didn't, you know what I'm saying?
He didn't bite. He didn't bite. He didn't take the bullshit.
Smart, real smart. So I got kicked out of practice and all that. But it was, and then sometimes they would play me and Mark together.
Yeah, I remember those.
We used to turn it out like when we played together.
Yo, Rod, that was crazy. That was great when y'all was then y'all would get the ball down low, the pat down there. I think you had Kiki shooting from the outside. You know what I mean? That was crazy.
We would be on a fast break. And, you know, Mark was fancy. You know, I was fancy. So we had the garden going. But back then, you weren't going to play 2 point guards together.
Yeah, you know, in that system there. So we get to the next year. I mean, that year you end up making, I believe, the NBA second team. You know what I mean?
Well, all rookie second team.
All rookie second team that let you know. I think you play like all 82 games too. If I'm not, I think.
And I mean, I played like 15 minutes and averaged like 8 points and 4 assists and 2 rebounds. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you made the best of your thing.
Yeah.
So it comes to this time, right? You know, Rick has to make a decision. I think we get to next. It gets to next year. Yeah, what happened?
I made that decision.
You made that decision? Oh, this is some exclusive shit right here. Go ahead, Rod. Talk that shit.
No. I made that decision. Like, I forced my way out of New York.
Right. You was looking for the betterment of your career. Like, what's best for you at that point.
Because Rick actually left. Stu Jackson was the coach the next year.
Right. That was the year that Stu
But I forced my way out. I gave them hell to get out of there.
Right.
Because I didn't want to sit behind Mark. Like, I knew what I was up against.
Right.
And to be quite honest with you, especially reflecting and looking back, Mark was the guy, and he had already shown it.
Right.
And Mark was more of a professional. You know what I mean? I was like the wild card. You know? So so them going with Mark, I get it. You know
when you say wild card, Rod, do you mean wild card on the court or off the court? You talking about
more off the court.
Right.
Like, you know, I would say my habits.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, like Mark was professional. So one thing about me that, you know, if I reflect and go and look back at it,
right,
I was this kid from the Bronx that really just knew basketball.
Right.
I didn't know the business of basketball. Right. And then I had a personality where I don't know how to play games. Right. I don't know how to play the game. If I don't like you, you probably gonna know I don't like you. If you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know how to maneuver like that.
Yeah.
So I was a little rough around the edges. So, you know, everything was basketball, but I didn't really have an understanding of, like, if you roll in there late, what that means. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, the professionalism, I think I lacked.
Right.
So I think that's why they made that decision, like, you know, well, we're going to get him out of here.
So let's talk about before the trade, because I believe went from Mo Cheeks at that time, right, to San Antonio. But before that, what would you think? Because in these years, Jordan is making a name for himself. What did you feel New York was lacking at that time, like to get over that hump? Because Detroit was still kicking ass at that time. Chicago was starting to make their move to dethrone Detroit at that time. What did you feel that the Knicks really needed at that point, if you could say?
Needed another star. That's it. I mean, just needed another player.
One more star at that point.
Yeah, you needed, I mean, you know, the Bulls had Jordan and Pippen.
Right.
Like, how you match up with that?
Right.
You know, just needed another. I mean, Mark was a star in his own right. But I mean, another one.
That
You know
play
what I mean?
both sides of the ball. Like Pippen and Jordan played both sides of the ball.
Yeah,
like,
or another dynamic person who could get his own.
right. Well said.
You know what I mean? Somebody with some length that can get his own shot, that can make his own play. Because, you know, the Knicks lived and died by throwing the ball down the path.
Yeah, exactly. Very predictable.
Yo, is it true that in his contract that the offense had to go through him?
Who?
Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing?
That was just because he was Patrick Ewing.
Right.
That had nothing to do with his contract.
Okay. Yeah.
What you saying? What when you say that? What offense? Like, who was coming?
Oh no. What I'm saying, like what I was like somewhere I heard that it was like part of his contract that the offense had to go through him or something like that.
Okay. I mean, back then it was a center league. It was Rick Smits went.
Right.
So he was just that
was
good.
drafted
that
in your draft. Rick Smits went one, right? And that was Indiana trying to have an answer for Pat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He didn't go number one, but he was high up.
Yeah.
But to your point about being in the contract, those things are not in the contract, but those things are evident. It's like LeBron James, everything is going through him.
Right.
So it's not even about a contract. It's Patrick Ewing is the center. He's the franchise.
The franchise.
Right. Yeah.
So you go to San Antonio, Rod. So you go up there, and I'm telling you, man, your batteries in your motherfucking pack right there, man. Because sometimes you got to prove them wrong by just doing right. So you went out there and motherfucker, you drank the juice, man, because you had David Robinson down low, and then you just fucking came in there kicking ass, man. And there was a whole bunch of love from Mo Cheeks, but you like, look, I gotta do what the fuck I gotta do. How was talk to us about your first year there, man?
So the first year was pretty good. I had David Robinson, Willie Anderson, Sean Elliott, Terry Cummins. We had a great team.
That's nice.
Yeah, ballers.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it went well. I think that first year, who did we lose in the playoffs? It might have been Golden State. So we lost. We were the higher seed and we lost. Golden State had Don Nelson coaching and that tricky defense, and they took Dave Robinson out of it a little bit, and we lost. But my career at San Antonio was pretty good, man. I would say my first year there. Matter of fact, yeah. So again, this goes back to the professionalism.
Right.
My first year there, I don't think people even remember this. They were putting me in all-star conversation because I was averaging like almost 17, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, and we were winning.
Yeah.
And then I had an incident.
What was that incident?
We were out at the club. Some things happened. Got into an altercation. I broke my hand.
Right.
That kind of altered it.
Right. Remember.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Came back. I wore a little splint on my hand for probably the rest of the year. And so, things started getting a little shaky then with me and management and all that. So I had really, I had real good years on the court, but you can sense like time was running out.
Right.
They actually didn't want to renew my contract. I almost went overseas. People don't even know that story.
How close were you? Yeah, babe. Do me a favor. Look in the drawer. The one in the closet. Yeah, take out my cock ring. Hey, what's up? You're listening to the Rob Stapleton Effect.
With Marshall Brandon.
That's right, and you're listening to our episode with the NBA legend, my man, Mr. Rod Strickland. Legendary. Hey, did y'all subscribe?
If you ain't subscribed yet, come on, man, get your life together.
That's right. You want the bonus footage? Subscribe. Don't miss out. Fix your face.
Click all you need to click.
And I'm going to get this click on. I'm sorry. How close were you to doing that, Rob?
I was close because they were going to offer me. So the team that was offering me, they kind of reneged on the deal. At the last minute, they tried to give me less money.
Okay.
So then I didn't go. But I almost went over there.
Okay. So now
I'm glad I didn't. But
I was going to say, man, that would have altered the course of a lot of NBA shit right there. Yeah. So one thing I noticed, man, when in San Antonio, man, your quickness in taking it to the hole was fucking bananas, man. It was like you could see people like AI take a piece of that game, and you could see even to today your godson, man, Kyrie, with the way that you would take it to the hole, man, you were like always known as one of the top 3 finishers in the league at that time. Is that something that you really practiced on and you worked on?
I did. So we know coming from New York, everything was shake and bake and getting to the basket.
Right.
You know, you had the wind blowing outside, so everything was getting to the cup. And so again, I love Magic Johnson. I studied because I super love Dr. J, and I love George Gervin. So, you know, those guys had imagination. And so it was a matter of me watching them and then like being creative.
Right.
So Billy Donovan, who coaches with the Bulls now, he was with the Knicks when I first got there. He always tells this story when he sees me. He says, "You're the first person that I watched for 2 hours just practice layups. Like just stand under the basket, and I just used to throw the ball up on the backboard, and I would spin it, and I would just practice on different spots of the backboard, and then I would turn around and do it on a different angle." And so I did it so much, and I tell people, so it was to my advantage. So now when I go to the basket, and let's say you foul me, right, and I get a little bumped off, I studied the English so much that now you bump me, but now I'm released from where you at. So now I spin it off the backboard.
Wow.
And I don't think people understand that. Like, I
Oh, man,
studied that backboard so much.
There was a science to what you was doing, man. And
Absolutely,
I heard
man.
how you would religiously practice that.
And was
You know
that
what I'm
off
saying?
different feet, like off different feet too, like off different
Nah,
steps
see,
or anything
I
like that?
wasn't
It was
with
just
that, what they do now with the same feet and all that foot. I just practice it because, you know, we learn basketball differently.
Right,
So
right.
you always was off your opposite foot. But I could stand there on, you know, 2-footed and, you know, but I twist the ball like any imaginable way to twist the ball.
Yeah.
I did it. And so every time I was off balance, I knew where to put the ball. So there's times, you know, I watch video now.
Right.
And I know people say he threw that up. And I'm like, no, I didn't.
nah, he meant that.
I didn't.
It was like it was sort of like pool, but with the basketball. Like
Yes.
it's a certain
Yes.
cue. You kissed it off a certain area
Yes.
to get that spin and rotation.
Yes. And then I learned the floaters. You know what I mean?
You taught
So-
Kyrie that? You taught Kyrie that?
No. I think like Kyrie Pops played, so he
Yeah,
taught
yeah,
him
D,
some
yeah,
of that
D,
stuff.
yeah, he
But
definitely.
I'm sure Kyrie watched and saw. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, you can't really teach all that. I don't think people understand
Mm,
that. Like because if you could teach that, everybody would be doing
everybody would do
Right.
it. Yeah.
it. You can't
yeah.
really. To me,
It's
I
an
always tell
instinct,
people-
right? It's an instinct you got to have.
And it's imagination. I always tell people I think it's creativity. I think my imagination made me think of different things to do. I think Kyrie took it to another level.
Yeah.
Kyrie's like, because if you watch him, like I'm like embarrassed to look at my highlights. Look at him. But he took the imagination to another level. Like if you see his left hand,
Yeah.
you know, I was good with my left hand, right? But I saw Chris Webber talking about this the other day on All the Smoke. So as a right-hand player, you know, I could take the ball and I could swing it all the way back around, right?
Right.
But now, if I do it with my left, I'm probably going to be right here.
Yeah.
But if you watch Kyrie, he's swinging it here with his right and he's swinging it all over here with his
And that's
left.
why you could always see the forwards and centers don't know how to take them because they don't know which
Man.
way he gonna go with it.
Yo, that
It's
he put us.
crazy. And even to that point, as I'm driving on people, driving to the basket, I'm taking away your space,
Yeah.
right? Because the shot blocker wants space,
Yeah.
right? That's how he blocks your shot. But if you run straight into his chest,
Yes.
you take away his
Yes.
room to even get his hand up at times.
You were one of the first guards that I ever seen do that used that to his advantage.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
running straight at you.
Yeah.
And then you can move it, right? Because they don't know. They think, and I tell people a lot of times too, the eyes are everything.
Mm.
So I would, if I'm going to the basket, like everybody know I'm not dunking, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you looked at my eyes, you might think, man, he might dunk this. but the trick is showing it, you know, they got to think I'm really going to the basket with my right hand.
Yeah.
So the eyes and, you know, the eyes is telling it all. and then you get to switch it, and you do it late.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
it's late.
yeah. Yo, that's
And they don't know
crazy.
what to do because you done ran into their chest. You done bumped them off guard.
Yo, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's like football too. That's almost like football in a way.
So, Rod, check it, man. There's no way I'm going to have you on here as being one of the best pure point guards to ever do it to let me know, who did you hate, man? Who did you hate? Like, you know, I heard a little John Stockton is what I heard, you know what I mean? It's the word on the street is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Who did you hate before we go into the Jordan thing about that, about your Washington game against him? But we'll talk about this
I
first.
didn't like Stockton.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, and not him as a person because I didn't know him. Mm-hmm. But I thought he was kind of dirty in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But as years went on, you know, he was tough.
I heard he never spoke to players. I heard he never spoke to players. Like he would just never speak to you.
So I'm gonna tell you a story. So we playing them in the playoffs. We had a day off. Mm-hmm. My brother came with me, Byron. He'll tell you this story.
Okay.
We walked into this restaurant. Stockton is there with Hornacek, maybe a couple other players. I walk in. He acknowledges me, say what's up. He walked right out.
Oh wow.
He left. Oh, wow. The other one stayed. He left.
Wow, wow. He had that war mentality, huh?
Yeah, he left.
He's like, I'm not going to buddy up with you. It's
yeah,
like,
he left.
Yeah, that's what I heard about him. So that shit is true. That shit is true.
Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, he was real tough. And if you didn't match his toughness, because I found out after a while, okay, I'm going to hit you first.
Right.
You know what I mean? You ain't banging me. I'm going to bang you. And we're going to bang each other all day. So I didn't really like him too much. Because I thought he was dirty, but he was just tough.
You were just tough.
I hated, did not like any parts, and he wasn't a guard, but Karl Malone. I couldn't stand him. I couldn't stand him.
Is that real?
I thought he was a bully, a fake bully at that. Like I just didn't, because I saw Charles Oakley, you know, so I wasn't buying it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
You want to talk crazy. You know, you want to act tough with me, but I just saw Oak, you know, put you
just son him. Yeah. You saw Oak and Mace son him. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's crazy that they happen to be teammates. So and I guess that was a Utah thing. They had to prove, you know, that Utah was that, so they had to do that 1-2 punch. Yeah. So okay, so tell me about, you know, being on the court with Jordan, Rod, before we get you up out of here.
Before that, I was doing my research. I have never seen a player who got a video on YouTube that's made dedicated to them busting Michael Jordan ass.
Yo, you saw this shit too, huh?
Yeah,
you saw that shit too. You saw that how you lit him up that whole first half.
Yeah, I was like, yo.
But it's two of them.
No, yeah.
So, because one says he locked me up.
Yeah, the other one does
like
say that.
It's interesting, but it's like
that was from a Chicago fan, though. You know what I'm saying, Rob? You know what I'm saying, Rob? You know what I'm saying, Rob?
Yeah. No, I mean, Jordan was the best, man. He was the ultimate competitor. You know, athleticism off the roof.
Rob, we see it through the TV, but you when you on the court and you're going on offense and defense on it, you really see it, you really feel it. Like you're trying to break that bridge to be like, yo, I'm going to be the guard to make him blah, blah, blah. But it's sort of like Floyd in a ring. He could counteract and make adjustments in each round, is what I get the feeling with Jordan.
Yeah, I don't know. I always for me, playing against Jordan, you understand who he is. You know it's going to be a tough night.
Right.
You know? But I'm going in like I'm going against whoever.
Anybody.
I'm going to compete.
Right.
And I know who I'm competing against, so I got to be on my A game.
Right.
But that's, you know who he is. But so because sometimes I think guys can get caught up in that.
Right.
And then you become defeated before you get on the court.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I never, that angle, I never looked at it like I know who he is.
Right.
But we coming to win. And knowing in your mind this shit gonna be hard.
Yeah.
But you gotta have that, because I think MJ, if you listen to people talk about MJ, I think MJ held the edge off of people because they gave him a little too much respect.
Yeah.
From
the jump.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's well said. That's well said.
Yo,
so Rod, okay.
I got couple things I want to
Get
read
it
to
off.
you,
Get
bro.
it off.
I need for you to listen to these. Our boys in Ohio coming through with the crazy Wyo niggas from the Source. My man Kelly Moon from Gavin, Rod Strickland, Jason. Then there's another one. Getting on, so I turned cold, giving them hard dick and straight to the hole, like Rod Strickland. It was taking a toll. Slide it in is sickening, guaranteed to make them jump like Rod Strickland. It's more. It's more. It's clipped them, scored them niggas with one bullet. That's Rod Strickland. 450 them, left him in the front street. His car twitching. Stay on point like Rod. In this Strickland, if Brooklyn courts was a canvas, then I would be the big man. Defense beyond Deion Sanders. I walked the earth with my rod in this Strickland. Promise people thought I was Thomas Hearns the way I hit, man. We talking about Common. We talking about Pharoah Monch, Mary J. Blige, Wu-Tang. I mean,
songs dedicated. Rod Strickland, the legend. That's crazy, man.
And there's a lot of them. You gotta let me know where you found those at, though.
Yeah.
I need those. Like, I need those.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because I don't even think people understand. There's a lot. There's a lot of them out there. Yeah. And I hear them more and more and more. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, because I thought it was just Wu-Tang. I thought it was Triumph when I first started. Yeah. And then I'm looking and I'm like, damn, Mary. And I'm like, Pharoah Monch, Common, Griselda, you know what I mean? Like, that's love, major, man.
That's major love,
right? Yeah, no, that's that's an honor, man. Like, even listening to the Wu-Tang, like, they're classic, they're legendary. That song is gonna always be there. Yeah. And it ends off with me. Like,
right.
That's crazy.
At the
end. That's
crazy.
That's true love. That's New York legend love, man. So Rob, before we finish up with what you're doing with your career now, I just want to ask you this, man. I know you got a lot of love for 55th. Whenever you hear 55th, everybody knows about that world famous park over there, the Rucker. Yeah. And you come through. You know what I mean? A different degree of a person that made it from nothing all the way to the pros, to the pinnacle of success. What do you say is different in the game, the Rucker Park game to the NBA game? What do you like? There's a lot of dope players out there, but without belittling anybody, what's missing? I know you wouldn't. That's not you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I wouldn't do that because I respect
you too much respect there.
But I played against those guys.
Exactly.
And those guys actually gave me my mojo. Like, so my journey and who I am, that's reflected, that's straight from them.
Exactly. So and out there we got nothing but beast out there. Future, half man, half beast, dribble machine, everybody, all of these dudes,
And New York, I'm giving all New Yorkers respect.
Right.
Because, like, we all in this together, and we raised each other.
Yes.
We battle with each other. So any success that's been happening, like, we laying on each other's shoulders.
Right.
So I'll never disrespect anybody, really, but especially New York City.
Yeah.
And 155th. I just think, the NBA is a system, and there's a certain way that you have to play. Playing in the park and being able to do whatever you want to do is one thing.
Right.
But now playing with an organization, playing with guys that are the guys, and now how do you fit into the guys? Because you may be in a situation where you have all this talent, but that team has a bunch of that talent already. You may have to just spot up and make a shot.
Right.
And if you can't do that, they don't want that other talent of yours.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
you got to be able to play within a system and produce at the same time.
You got to be able to play within the system and produce, and you have to be efficient.
Right.
You have to be able to play with others. You have to be able to fit in. There's a lot of, I give so much respect to Skip.
Yeah.
Because he was the guy that I went to 155th to see him, just to see him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to watch him have an understanding of, I can come here to 155th and be Skip to Malou, and then I can go to college and I can do my thing and be effective, and be one of the main dudes.
Yeah,
I can go to the NBA.
Yep, get a nice little run out there in Houston. Yep.
But he was in Milwaukee at first.
And
right? He was struggling because people couldn't, they couldn't understand Skip, right? Because he got that flair, and back then they didn't want all
They
that.
didn't want all of
At
that.
all.
They didn't want all of that. Yeah.
So I have to give Skip so much credit for recognizing that and being able to adjust. Because it's not easy.
It was dope to see too with the
So
and one thing
Skip
going
is,
on.
Skip is one of my favorite like hoopers, people, because I watched his journey and I respect it so much.
Yeah.
But the difference between, being out in the park and being out in the league is, there's a system,
Yeah.
and you got to be able to, become a part of it.
Right.
And I know that street ballers, I think they were a little misguided too, as far as, I think they thought being a pro might be a little easier than they think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I always honestly, I wanted them to come to camp,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I want, so you can see what this really is.
Yeah, because
Like,
I would say it's not too far off. The journey you can follow the Lenny Cook, road and have all the potential in the world, but just it never really meets up when it gets to the pro standard. You know what I mean? And it's not us to throw anybody under the bus, but there's a lot. You got to be headstrong too in order to be able to handle the rejection and all the shit that comes at your level.
Yes, Lenny Cook, if you look back and you really think about it, Lenny Cook was misguided by adults. So he didn't have a chance. He had the physical abilities, he had the tools, but he was misguided by adults. Yeah. He needed some guidance, and he didn't get that. So I think he was let down a little bit, Yeah. And I know if you look at the story and, you hear his mistakes and you see it, but he was misguided. He needed people to tell him no, people to really be in his corner about the right things.
Yeah.
There were people that, was trying to use him for his athletic and his
Exactly.
talent,
People trying to position him for their own personal leverage.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and they never gave him those lessons.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
what's up? It's the Rob Stapleton Effect.
With Marshall Brandon.
That's right. And you're listening to the episode with my man, Mr. Rod Strickland, the NBA legend.
Hey man, if you ain't subscribed already, you're doing yourself a disservice.
That's right. Fix your face and hit that subscribe button to get all exclusive offers and sneak peeks and bonus footage. Don't do that to yourself. No, I think that's well said. So look, Rod, you had a luxurious career, man. So as you wrap it up, a lot of people go when they walk into the booth and you see them on TNT and they're doing whatever thing. You chose to go through a very unique route. You know what I mean? You hooked up with John Calipari in Memphis and in Kentucky, and it's sort of like me being a stand-up. People, I tell the jokes on the stage, but I'm really looking at doing things behind the camera now. You know what I mean? That type of level. And you took those jobs on and started your first coach and the first manager. And let's talk about that as we wrap this.
Yeah, no. So when I was finishing up my career, I wasn't for sure what I wanted to do. I almost went overseas. I almost played in Puerto Rico. That's how starving I was to play. Like nothing against Puerto Rico, but like I still wanted to play basketball. But I decided not to. And then I went into coaching. Cal gave me an opportunity.
Right, hold on. Let me stop you right there. That last year, when you know that last year might be your year, what goes through your head? Like all of these years?
I didn't know because I got cut.
Okay.
I didn't know. I'm glad I didn't know. But
right, okay.
I got cut, and then now it's like, what's next?
Okay.
So I had to figure it out on the fly.
Figure it out, okay.
Yeah, so I went to Memphis and Kentucky. I was able to learn the coaching, learn how to coach, how to work. It was a great experience. I was able to mentor and be around some of the greatest young talent that you can ever see. D. Rose, Tariq Evans, John Wall, Anthony Davis,
Where did the call come from, John? Where did that relationship build? Was it while he was scouting you? Like, what?
Cal tried to trade for me in New Jersey, and then he had a player at UMass that was going through some things, and he had me talk to him.
Oh, okay.
So we created a little rapport, and then I used to go to Memphis to his camps, and I'll go watch a game.
Got you. Okay, I was always wondering where that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
And then he had players on his team that he wanted me to talk to. So
Right.
You know,
I remember seeing you on the bench, man, and being proud because it reminded me of seeing Patrick after his years put
yeah,
his time up on the bench and looking at the things that you have to absorb in order to become a
yeah,
coach or
yeah,
play development and stuff like that. So
yeah,
so right now you're working with the G League, man, developing these future stars that are coming into the league, man. Proud as hell of you on
yeah.
that, man. Proud as
No,
hell
I
of
appreciate
doing
you.
that in the
I
G
appreciate
League,
it.
man.
That's a beautiful
That's a
thing.
beautiful thing. So let's talk about that, man.
I appreciate it, man. No, it was, after I finished in college, I was trying to figure out the next phase of my career. And I had an opportunity to go to the NBA G League. And once I heard about the position, I was like, it's perfect. I just came out of college, so I kind of know the landscape. I've dealt with the young guys, so player development, coaching, and all that. And I knew the G League had growth, right? I knew it was going to grow. So I'm kind of getting in at that level where, you can only go up.
Yeah.
And so it was just a great opportunity for me to kind of show a different skill set, to kind of manage something, to learn the office. I went in the office every day, sat in the boardrooms, in the meetings, had to, keep learning how to lead a meeting.
Rob, what do you do when you bump into a player that has the attitude that you had when you was younger? How do you go about that?
The best thing is that I've been there and done that. So it's never personal with me, right? So I think that was one of my greatest strengths in college.
Crazy.
Like it doesn't bother me, right? So whereas some of the other coaches going nuts and,
Yeah.
this guy, like, man, come on, come in my office, man. Or I give them the real. There's times where, I got to say something they're not going to like and they feel some kind of way. But because I would never let a coach talk to me any kind of way, so I'm never going to talk to them any kind of way.
Right.
So I always tell people, you can tell somebody the truth without talking crazy to them.
Yeah.
Now, it may be uncomfortable for them. They may not like it, but as time goes on, they're going to respect it.
Yeah.
They're going to know that you care. It wasn't like I'm telling you something just because I think I can do that.
Yeah.
So I never talked about who I was as a player, right? The only way we talk about that is if, they heard something, they come mess with me, we'll joke around.
Yeah.
But because it's not about me. They want to know, do you know what you're talking about and do you care?
Right. Right.
And so
And they want to
I
look
never
you in the
had a problem.
eyes while you're talking to them to see if you're being real with it. Because these are kids from
Yeah.
some real inner city, so they know if you selling them a bill of goods.
And it takes time. After a
Yeah.
while, when you're consistent, they
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
They get it. They get it.
No, I think that was a brilliant selection in bringing you in. Not only because you're my man, you got to
Yeah.
have some truth serum at that
Yeah.
point, and they got to really sense that this is a real development that's going on, and the person that's talking to me came from the same shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I tell people like I'm authentic, right? Because
Yeah.
I've been through all those different experiences. I don't have to fake it. I don't have to make up a story. Like, whatever you going through, I probably touched on it. You know what I mean? So I can always have that conversation. I can always talk to my experiences, and they know it's factual.
Right.
So
Right. How do you feel you would fare in the NBA now with your game? Would you think you would be putting up at least 8 more shots a game? How you look at his face, yo. Look at his face.
no, because people always ask that because I wasn't a 3-point shooter, but I tell people I can go in the gym and work on that. The thing between your heads, some of it is natural. So like you got 4 guys out, 1 guy in the post, sometimes 5 guys out. So I just say to people, so I've got 1 guy in front of me. You think he's gonna stay in front of me? He's not gonna stay in front of me. So now once I get past him, because of IQ, I'm gonna know the play to make. And now I'm a finisher who's blocking my shot. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes we get all caught up in the 3-point shooting, which is great. but there's an IQ to this game that's going to always be sustainable.
Yo, you hear that cocky shit? You heard that cocky shit?
That's real.
He said ain't one motherfucker ain't holding me down. You heard that cocky
Yo,
shit?
No.
that was one of my questions.
Man, I'm pouring the
too.
drink
He
for
answered.
Rod right now. That was some cocky Blue Royal right here. That was some cocky. He said, you think this motherfucker gonna hold me down?
But honestly, I mean, my game was getting by people. So, for all intents and purposes, I'm gonna get by you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for the most part, and because
That's
I have an understanding of the game, because the game becomes what kind of advantage you can create. And once you get by one person, then you create help. And so that becomes an advantage. And because of IQ and skill, I know the play to make. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that gives me an advantage that everybody doesn't have.
Yeah,
Because they still some teams still lack that in the NBA today, having players that could create off the dribble to get by and get that penetration in there and make a play and kick it out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you. I think it was when I was looking up. I think it was AYI, a foundation. It was a and I saw YAI. Yeah, YAI. And I just wanted you to speak to that too, and some of what you do when you do, because I saw that you do a lot of speaking engagements. You book speaking engagements and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, the Young Athletes Inc. is something me and Lamar Dyson started. Man, I want to say 1997, 96.
Damn, back then?
Yeah, so no one really knew because I'm not so I don't know if you remember, but there was a time where New York City had taken away the funding for junior high school basketball sports. So Lamar and myself, we created a league in the Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens. And we created this league and we did it every year. And then I would have a summer league for boys and girls. And so, it started out Tiny Archibald, Rod Strickland, then it went to Rod Strickland. Now it's Kyrie, Rod Strickland. They might take my name off it next, But so I've been doing it forever. We do basketball, we have baseball, teenage pregnancies. We take them to museums. We tell them about careers inside of basketball besides, being the actual player. We have refs come in. So, we try to do a lot of things.
Yeah, my man Corleone be coming in reffing those games. My man Ant.
So, that's been something I've done forever. Lamar Dyson is the guy. He's the man. He coached me when I was 10 years old. I've always respected him. So, come full circle, we get back together.
That's beautiful.
And he's the driving force. And now you got myself, you got Kyrie involved, got Kyrie's father involved, Dedrick Irvin. It's been good. It's been good.
That's super dope. So let's get to it, man. Who you got this year, man? I mean, they got, them boys in Brooklyn looking big, Rod. The boys in Brooklyn, they got the big three. We can't get them all on the court at one time, man. But it's if you got to put your money up, I don't know how you bet against that.
Right.
I know my man Jamal Murray just got hurt out there in Denver because I thought it was going to be Denver, Brooklyn in the finals to me.
He tore his ACL, right?
I like that choice, but if I got to put my money on it, I'm going Brooklyn. Yeah, man. Like I just don't know how you have three dynamic players. Like there's not two. So even if you go to, and I don't want to sound like if you go to LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh.
Right.
Well, Bosh is really, really good. A star. Maybe a Hall of Fame and all that.
Yeah.
But he's not in that dynamic category like the three Brooklyn guys.
Right.
Like Kyrie's dynamic.
Three of the best scorers of all time.
KD's dynamic.
Of all time.
And not even just the best scorers, like the skill level how to score is like, you haven't had three together like that.
Right.
And so you can give any one of them the ball at the end of the game, and it's a problem. And people say KD is the biggest mismatch, and he is, because he's 7 foot, and he shot your right here. Yeah. So it's just a matter of him getting to his spot. You're never blocking it. So you're right here. Or you here. So, you know what I'm saying? So his shot is always about if he's making it.
Right.
Well, that 6'3" dude, even though he's 6'3" and he got guys over him, he's the same way.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they don't want to give him his credit and they'll call me a homer, but like that 6'3" dude, like he can get his shot anytime, anywhere, on anybody.
On anybody, man. The most, the best entertainer on the court as well, man. The best.
The most Kyrie, and I don't care what anyone says from the basketball that
you
I've
ain't
seen,
right now. You're not speaking as the Godfather. You speaking as a fan right now, man.
From the basketball I've seen, I've never seen anyone as skilled as him.
I did see them admit that he got the best handles of all time. That's what they saying now on the sports shows. They I see he did that step back hezzy on Steven Adams the other day. It was sick, yo.
I heard Dedrick used to have him dribbling with paper bags, with the ball in a paper bag, just so he could control it. You know what I mean?
But think about him as a ball handler, as a shooter, and then as a finisher. There's nobody. He's the best finisher of our size that we've seen.
Yes.
This
way of Isaiah and you. This way of Isaiah and you.
I don't even think Isaiah was that kind of finisher, even though
Yeah.
Right. So now you said Isaiah, right? I always tell people if I want to put anybody next to him, it's Isaiah. As far as skill wise, you know what I'm saying? But like if you look at how he makes layups, and I take that back. You're right, Isaiah layups. I take that back. So, but as a layup maker, as a shot maker, as a spot up jump shooter, and as a ball handler and creativity, he checks too many boxes.
He checks, man. It's going to be hard to stop them boys in Brooklyn, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
When are we going to get the Strictly Speaking podcast back?
So it's funny you say that because as like right now, I'm trying to figure it out because I want to do it different.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to think of some ways. I don't want to do like the same. I'm trying to figure it out, but I want to do it.
Okay. You want to bring an angle to it, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see how I can just make it look different, how we interact, the conversation, the things that are being talked about.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure that out. But glad you said that. I've been writing in my phone like ideas of how to do that, man. Because I enjoyed it. And it's funny because I just picked it up and said, let me do it. Because I was so, I wasn't, unless you really, really know me, I wasn't a super talkative person. Yeah. So I was trying to come out of that. So when I left college, I just said, I'm going to do a podcast. And that's going to help me talk more. Yeah. And then when I started doing it, I enjoyed it. But then I got the job at the NBA office, and I didn't really have time.
Yeah.
So I was doing it as I was working, but then it fell off a little bit. So, I'm gonna.
So right now you're saying it's brewing. It's brewing right now, right?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yo, Rob, man, I just want to tell you, man, you are a beloved dude, man, from NBA or just how you walk and how you carry yourself, man. I remember, man, you were a legend even in DePaul, man. The dudes in Chicago were loving you, man. I do a lot of shows, and when your name came up, man, like there was so much street love for you, man.
Yeah, it's like second home.
Yeah.
That Chicago and DC is like second home.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of love for you, man. Yeah. And here at the Rob Stapleton Effect podcast, man, me and Marshall, man, applaud you for coming out, man.
Definitely.
Appreciate it.
And being candid, and honor, bro. Being candid and speaking your truths with us, man. Anything else you want to say to the public that you got going? You got a ton of stuff going on that you already mentioned. Anything else you want to throw out there, man?
Just, I'm working on some things, even some apparel.
Okay.
I'm a whole lot on that.
Nice.
So, but I'm just.
So when we get you back on the second time, we could talk about the apparel and branding and all that. We get that up again.
Yeah, we're gonna be wearing it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, you ain't got no thongs though, right? Ain't no thongs, right?
I don't know. Is that what you want me to order you?
Ladies and gentlemen, man, the Rob Stapleton effect with the NBA legend, New York, one of the best to ever come out of the city, New York. There's 8.5 million people in New York at all times. And on our screen right now is one of the best to come out there doing it, Mr. Rod Strickland, man. Yo, Rod, man, applaud you one more time. Thank you so much, man.
Man.
Thank you.